Hello, my friend. Welcome back to Mr. English Lab, the place where your English grows, one story at a time. Today, have you ever stopped for a moment and listened to your own thoughts? Maybe this morning you woke up and said to yourself, "I'm tired. I don't feel good today." Or maybe you looked in the mirror and whispered, "I'm not enough." We say these small sentences inside our head every single day, but we rarely notice how powerful they are. Welcome back to Mr. English Lab, my friend. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most important things in life, your thoughts. Because if you can learn to control your thoughts, you can control your life. I want you to imagine your mind as a small garden. Every thought you think is like a seed you plant in this garden. Some thoughts are beautiful, like seeds of peace, hope, and gratitude. And some are like weeds full of worry, fear, and anger. Whatever you plant, that is what grows. If you plant positive thoughts every day, your garden becomes a place of light and peace. But if you allow negative thoughts to grow wild, your garden becomes dark, full of noise and confusion. So today, let's walk into that garden together and learn how to take care of it. When I was younger, I used to believe that life just happens to us. That we have no control. Things happen, people hurt us, problems appear, and we just react. But then one day, I realized something. It's not the world that controls how I feel. It's the way I think about the world. If someone said something unkind to me, I could choose to feel angry for hours. Or I could choose to let it go. If I failed at something, I could think, "I'm useless," or I could think, "I'm learning." The situation didn't change, only the thought changed. And that changed everything. Have you ever had a day when one small bad thing happened and it ruined your whole mood? Like spilling coffee in the morning and suddenly everything feels wrong? That's not because the world turned bad. It's because our mind keeps repeating the same negative story. This day is terrible. Nothing is working. And the more we think it, the stronger it becomes. But here's the beautiful truth. You have the power to change the story. You can change your thoughts, and when you change your thoughts, your feelings begin to follow. Let's try something together right now. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes for a moment and listen to your mind. What kind of thoughts are moving inside? Are they peaceful or stressful? Are they kind or judgmental? Just notice them. Don't fight them. Imagine you are standing at the gate of your garden, just watching the plants grow. Now, choose one small positive seed, one thought you want to plant today. Maybe it's, "I'm doing my best." Or, "I can learn something new today." Or simply, "I am grateful to be alive." Say it slowly. Repeat it once more, quietly inside your mind. That simple sentence is a seed. If you water it every day with attention and care, it will grow stronger than any weed of negativity. You see, most people live their lives without realizing that they are always thinking. Our minds are like a radio, it never stops playing. Sometimes it plays songs of joy, sometimes songs of worry. And most of the time, we don't even notice what's on the radio. We just listen and feel whatever comes. But what if you could choose the station? What if you could decide what kind of thoughts to listen to? That's what mental control really means, not to stop thinking, but to guide your thoughts toward peace, confidence, and clarity. When you start observing your thoughts, something magical happens. You realize that you are not your thoughts. You are the listener, the watcher behind them. And that awareness gives you power. Let me tell you a small story. There was once a farmer who had a large field. Every day, he planted seeds of wheat. But one year, he became lazy. He stopped removing weeds, thinking, "It's fine, they're just small." Soon, the weeds grew taller than the wheat. They drank the water, took the sunlight, and the wheat became weak. At harvest time, the farmer had almost nothing left. Our mind works exactly like that. Every small negative thought that we ignore, "I can't, I'm not enough, it's too hard," grows quietly inside. And before we know it, those weeds take over our inner garden. But here's the hope. You can always start again. You can always pull out the weeds and plant new seeds. You just need to notice them first. From this moment, I want you to become more aware of the kind of thoughts that live in your mind. When you wake up, listen to the first sentence that appears in your head. Is it positive? Is it peaceful? Or is it heavy and tired? If it's negative, don't get angry. Just smile and say, "Oh, this is a weed. I'll plant something better." Then say a new thought out loud, maybe something gentle and strong. Because when you speak it, you give it life. You can say, "I'm learning. I'm growing. I'm strong enough." Even if you don't believe it yet, keep saying it. Words are like water for your garden. Now, let's talk about something important, why this helps you in English learning, too. When you control your thoughts, you stop saying, "My English is bad." You stop thinking, "I can't speak like a native." And instead, you start saying, "I'm improving every day. I'm learning to express myself. I'm becoming confident." The more you repeat these thoughts, the more your mind believes them. And your actions begin to match your beliefs. You start practicing more, listening carefully, speaking without fear. Because your inner garden is full of positive, strong plants now. When you listen to me right now, your brain is not only learning English words. It's also learning how to think differently. Every time you choose a better thought, you are training your brain like an athlete trains muscles. You are building mental strength. So remember this first rule of thought control. You cannot control what comes into your mind, but you can control what stays there. You can't stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can stop it from building a nest in your hair. In the same way, you can't stop every negative thought from appearing, but you can stop it from living in your mind. So today, my friend, start small. Plant one positive seed in your mind every morning. Protect it. Water it with patience. And before you know it, your garden will start to bloom. And when that happens, when your mind is peaceful, focused, and kind, you will see that your whole life begins to change. Because the world outside is only a reflection of the world inside. Take a deep breath again. Smile gently. And repeat after me slowly. I can choose my thoughts. I can choose peace. I can grow a beautiful garden in my mind. This is where control begins, not by forcing life to change, but by learning to care for the thoughts that shape it. This is the beginning of transformation. The hidden power of thought. Have you ever noticed how one small thought can change your whole mood? You wake up, see the sunlight, and think, "Today is going to be a good day." And suddenly you smile. You move a little faster. You feel alive. But imagine you wake up and think, "I don't want to do this again." Immediately, your body feels heavy. You move slowly. You feel tired before the day even starts. What changed? Not your body. Not your world. Only one thing, your thought. That is the hidden power of your mind. Your thoughts are not just small words floating in your head. They are energy. Every thought you think sends a message to your body, to your emotions, and even to your actions. If you think, "I'm strong," your body feels strong. If you think, "I'm scared," your body reacts with fear. That is how powerful your thoughts are. They create the way you feel, the way you act, and the way you live. When you understand this connection between your thoughts and emotions, everything changes. Let's say someone gives you feedback. Maybe they say, "Your English is not good." You can think two very different thoughts in that moment. Thought 1, they are right. I'm bad at English. Or thought 2, okay, that's their opinion. I can learn and get better. Now notice, the same situation, but completely different feelings. The first thought makes you feel small, sad, and afraid to try again. The second thought gives you power, motivation, and peace. That is why your inner dialogue, the conversation you have with yourself, is the most important conversation of your life. There is a famous saying, "You don't see the world as it is. You see it as you are." It means that your thoughts act like glasses. If your glasses are dirty and dark, everything looks sad and unclear. If your glasses are clean and bright, you see beauty and hope everywhere. When your thoughts are full of fear, you find problems in every corner. When your thoughts are full of gratitude, you find gifts even in difficult moments. So, if you want to change how you feel, you don't need to fight the world. You just need to clean your glasses, change your thoughts. Let me tell you a story. There was once a young man who always complained about his life. He said, "Nothing works for me. Everyone else is lucky, but not me." One day, an old wise man gave him a glass of water and said, "Put this spoon of salt inside, and then drink." The young man did it, and immediately said, "It's too salty. I can't drink it." Then the old man took him to a large lake. He gave him another spoon of salt and said, "Now throw it into the lake." The young man did. Then the old man said, "Now drink from the lake." The young man drank and smiled. "It's fresh," he said. "I don't taste the salt anymore." The old man smiled and said, "The pain in your life is like salt. The amount of pain is the same for everyone, but how much you feel depends on the size of your heart. When your mind is small, like a glass, everything feels too strong. When your mind grows wide, like a lake, pain becomes gentle." That is what positive thinking really does. It doesn't remove problems. It expands your mind so that problems feel smaller. Now, let's connect this to something very practical, your everyday thoughts. Every emotion you feel starts with one thought. If you feel angry, it's because of a thought like, "They should not treat me like that." If you feel sad, it's because of a thought like, "I lost something important." If you feel peaceful, it's because of a thought like, "I'm okay. I can handle this." The emotion is the flower, but the thought is the seed. You can't change the flower without changing the seed. So the next time you feel sad or worried, don't fight the emotion. Just ask gently, what thought is creating this feeling? When you find that thought, you can decide whether to keep it or change it. Many people say, "I can't control how I feel." But the truth is you can, when you learn to trace your feelings back to your thoughts. You are not helpless. You have the power to guide your mind like a captain steering a ship through strong waves. The waves are your emotions. They come and go. But the captain, that's you. You decide which direction to go. If you let the waves control you, you feel lost. If you hold the wheel, your thoughts, you can sail smoothly, even through the storm. Let's try something together again. Think of one small situation that made you upset recently. Maybe someone ignored your message. Maybe you made a mistake at work or in school. Close your eyes for a second. Feel that emotion. Now ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Maybe you're thinking, "They don't care about me." Or, "I'm not good enough." Now, try to change that thought to something more true and kind. Maybe they are busy. "It's not about me." Or, "I made a mistake, but that's how I learn." Notice how your emotion begins to change immediately. This is how you use the hidden power of your thoughts. You are not escaping reality, you are choosing a better perspective. I want to tell you something personal. There was a time in my life when I used to overthink everything. If someone didn't smile at me, I thought I did something wrong. If I made one mistake, I thought everyone was judging me. It was exhausting. My body was tired, but not because of work, it was because of my mind. Then one day, I read something that changed my life. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. I started to watch my mind like I was watching clouds in the sky. Some clouds were dark, thoughts of worry. Some were bright, thoughts of hope. And I realized that I could just let them pass. I didn't have to follow every thought. And slowly, I began to feel lighter. Not because life became easy, but because I learned not to believe every thought that appeared. When you begin to understand this, you gain freedom. Freedom from fear. Freedom from self-doubt. Freedom from the idea that your mind controls you. Your thoughts are like guests visiting your house. Some are kind, some are rude. You can choose who stays for tea and who must leave at the door. So if a negative thought comes, don't argue with it. Just smile and say, "Thank you, but I don't need you right now." And let it go. You always have the power to choose your next thought. And here's a beautiful side effect. When your mind becomes peaceful, your English learning becomes easier. Because when you stop worrying about being perfect, your brain opens. You start to listen better. You start to speak with more confidence. You stop thinking, "What if I make a mistake?" and start thinking, "I'm communicating. I'm growing." Learning a language is not just about vocabulary, it's about the energy you bring. If your mind is full of fear, your words become heavy. If your mind is full of confidence, your words flow naturally. That is the power of thought. It shapes not only your life, but also your voice. So today, my friend, I want you to practice one small habit. Every time you notice a strong emotion, pause for 5 seconds. Ask yourself, what thought is behind this feeling? Then choose a better one. If you feel nervous before speaking English, think, "This is not fear, this is excitement. My body is ready." If you feel shy, think, "I have something to share. My words matter." The moment you change your thought, your feeling and your energy change too. That is the real secret to a peaceful, confident life. So let's end this section with a short reflection. Take a slow breath. Repeat after me, quietly in your mind. My thoughts create my emotions. I can choose what I think. I am not my thoughts. I am the one who observes them. Keep repeating this every morning. Let these words become part of your new mental language. Because when you master your thoughts, you master your emotions. And when you master your emotions, you begin to master your life. Awareness, the first step to control. You cannot control what you don't understand. And you cannot understand what you don't notice. That's why awareness is always the first step to control. Before you can change your thoughts, you must first see them clearly, gently, and without fear. Imagine you are standing beside a quiet river. The water is your mind. Every thought is like a leaf floating on that river. Some leaves are beautiful, green, soft, shining under the sunlight. Some are dry, brown, heavy, and full of dust. Your job is not to stop the river. Your job is to stand on the side, watch the leaves pass, and learn to notice which ones you keep holding. That's awareness. Most of the time, people are not aware of what's going on in their mind. We think we are thinking, but actually our thoughts are thinking us. They appear, they move fast, they control our emotions, and we simply react. Have you ever realized that sometimes your body moves before you even think? You hear something and you get angry. You see something and you feel jealous. You remember something and you suddenly feel sad. It happens so fast that you don't even know when it started. But the truth is, between every event and every emotion, there is always a thought. If you can catch that small moment between, you can change everything. Let's try this together. Take a deep breath. Right now, notice what you are feeling. Maybe you feel calm. Maybe a little tired. Maybe curious. Now, ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Maybe you're thinking, "I'm listening to English." Or, "This is interesting." Or maybe, "I hope I can learn something from this." That's awareness. It's that simple. It's like turning on the light in a dark room. You see, thoughts love darkness. They grow stronger when we don't see them. But once you shine your light of attention, they lose their power. Because now you are the one watching, not the one being controlled. When I first started practicing awareness, I discovered something surprising. I realized that most of my thoughts were not new. They were just repeats, old sentences that kept playing again and again like a broken song. Thoughts like, "I can't do this. I'm not ready. People will judge me." And every day, I believed them as if they were the truth. But when I started noticing them, I realized these were just habits of thinking. They were not facts. They were just patterns. And patterns can be changed. Maybe you've experienced the same. Have you ever had a thought that just keeps coming back again and again? Something like, I'm not confident in English. Or I'll never improve. It feels real because you've heard it so many times inside your head. But once you become aware of it, you can start to question it. You can say, is this thought true? Do I have proof? Is there another way to see this? That's what awareness does. It gives you choice. Without awareness, your thoughts control you. With awareness, you control your thoughts. Let's imagine a small scene. A girl named Anna is learning English. Every time she tries to speak, she feels nervous. Her hands shake. Her voice becomes small. Now, what is really happening here? Her body is reacting to her thoughts. Maybe she's thinking, I'll make a mistake, or people will laugh at me. But she doesn't notice the thought, she only feels the fear. So she believes the fear is real. Now imagine that Anna starts to practice awareness. She begins to observe her mind. Before speaking, she pauses and says to herself, wait, what am I thinking? Then she realizes, I'm thinking I'll make a mistake. And in that moment, she breathes deeply and changes it to, it's okay to make mistakes. I'm learning. Her fear slowly becomes smaller, her body relaxes, and her words begin to flow. She didn't control her body, she controlled her thought. That's the power of awareness. Many people think that awareness is something difficult or spiritual. But in truth, it's something very simple and very human. It means being present. Being awake to what is happening inside your mind right now. You can practice it anywhere, while walking, eating, listening, or talking. Just ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? You might be surprised by what you hear. Sometimes you'll catch thoughts that don't serve you, like, I'm tired, or I'm unlucky, or I can't do this. Don't fight them. Don't judge them. Just smile and say, I see you. That's all. Because every time you notice a thought, you take one step out of it. And when you step out, you become free. There is a saying in mindfulness. The moment you realize you are lost in thought, you are already back on the right path. That's awareness. Even if you lose yourself in negative thinking, the second you see it, you're already awake again. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware. Let me give you a small daily practice. Every few hours, pause and take a small mind check. Ask, what am I thinking? If it's a positive, peaceful thought, smile and continue. If it's a negative one, gently replace it. Do this every day for 1 week. You will start to see patterns. You will start to know your own mind. And when you know your mind, you can guide it. When you practice awareness, even your language learning becomes more effective. Because now you're not only listening to English, you're listening to yourself. You notice when you get distracted, when you lose confidence, or when you start comparing yourself to others. And instead of reacting, you gently bring your focus back. This is how great learners grow, not by force, but by awareness. So, next time you listen to an English lesson or you speak with someone, try this. Stay present. Notice your breath. Notice your thoughts. When you forget, gently return to the present. You'll start to feel a new kind of peace, even when things are not perfect. Remember, awareness doesn't mean controlling every thought. It means being awake to your mental world, so you can choose wisely. Let me tell you one more short story. There was a monk who was asked, "What do you do every day in your monastery?" He said, "I eat. I walk. I sleep." The man asked, "That's it?" "We all do that. What's special about you?" The monk smiled and said, "Yes, but when I eat, I eat. When I walk, I walk. When I sleep, I sleep." That's awareness, to be fully present with what you are doing, thinking, and feeling. When you are aware, your life becomes simple. When you are not aware, your life becomes complicated. So practice being where you are completely. When you study, study. When you rest, rest. When you think, know that you are thinking. This is the first step to peace, the first step to control. Let's do a short practice together before we close this section. Take a deep breath in and out. Now, notice one thought that is passing through your mind right now. Don't push it away. Don't believe it. Just notice it. Imagine it like a small cloud in the sky, soft, moving, changing. You don't have to hold it. You don't have to fight it. Just watch it float away. Now, choose a new thought. Something calm, kind, and gentle. Maybe I am learning to understand myself. Or I am growing every day. Repeat it slowly inside your mind. This is awareness in action, the practice of conscious choice. Awareness is the first step to control. When you begin to see your thoughts, you take the power back. And when you live with awareness, even ordinary moments become beautiful. Because life is not happening to you, it's happening through you. Through your thoughts, your focus, and your attention. So from today, walk with your eyes open, not just the eyes on your face, but the eyes of your mind. Notice what you think. Notice what you feel. And remember, awareness is not about perfection. It's about presence. That is where control truly begins. The voice in your head. There's a voice that speaks to you every single day. You hear it when you wake up. You hear it when you make a mistake. You hear it when you look in the mirror. That voice is always there, whispering inside your mind. Sometimes it says kind things. You did well today. I'm proud of you. You can do this. But sometimes it says things that hurt. You're not good enough. You always fail. Why even try? That voice has the power to build your confidence or to destroy it. And here's the truth. It's not the world outside that controls your happiness most of the time. It's that inner voice inside your head. Now, I want you to pause for a moment and listen to that voice. What is it saying right now? Maybe it's quiet. Maybe it's saying, I'm listening. Or maybe it's judging, I can't do this English listening for so long. Whatever it is, just listen. That voice is not your enemy. It's simply your mind trying to protect you, trying to help you survive, based on what it has learned. But here's the problem. Your mind learns from the past. It remembers pain, embarrassment, and fear, and it tries to protect you by repeating warnings like, don't try again, stay safe, don't speak up. So the voice inside your head may sound negative, but really, it's just afraid. It's trying to keep you safe in the small space it understands. Think about when you were a child. Maybe someone laughed when you made a mistake. Or maybe you failed once and felt ashamed. Your mind recorded that memory and said, let's not do that again. And years later, the same voice says, be careful. Don't speak. You might fail again. That's why it sounds critical, because it remembers old pain. But you are not that child anymore. You have grown. You are stronger now. And it's time to teach your inner voice a new way to speak. Let me tell you a small story. Once, there was a man who had two wolves inside him. One wolf was full of anger, fear, jealousy, and sadness. The other wolf was full of love, kindness, courage, and peace. Every day, these two wolves fought inside his heart. One day, his son asked, which wolf will win, father? The man smiled and said, the one I feed. That is exactly how your inner voice works. Every time you repeat negative thoughts, you feed the wolf of fear. Every time you speak kindly to yourself, you feed the wolf of strength. Which one do you want to grow? Most of us speak to ourselves in ways we would never speak to a friend. If a friend made a mistake, we would say, it's okay. Don't worry. You'll do better next time. But when we make a mistake, we say, how could I be so stupid? I'm hopeless. I'll never change. We think this voice helps us, that it keeps us disciplined. But actually, it only makes us weaker. Because your mind listens to every word you say. If you tell yourself, I'm not enough, your brain believes it and acts like it's true. If you tell yourself, I can handle this, your brain believes that too. So, my friend, talk to yourself like someone you love. Let's try something together right now. Think of one mistake you made recently. Maybe you said something wrong in English. Maybe you forgot something important. Maybe you disappointed someone. Now, imagine your best friend made that same mistake. What would you say to them? Would you shout at them inside your mind? Or would you say, it's okay. Everyone makes mistakes. You're learning. That's the voice you need to practice, the voice of kindness. Because self-compassion is not weakness, it's wisdom. It gives you the strength to try again without fear. When you begin to change the way you speak to yourself, your whole world begins to change. You become calmer. You start to feel safe inside your own mind. You stop fighting with yourself. And that peace, that inner kindness, becomes your new power. When you wake up in the morning, say something gentle to yourself. You can say, "Good morning, my friend. Let's make today better." When you make a mistake, say, "That's okay. I'm learning." When you feel tired, say, "I need rest. I'll come back stronger." You see, your mind listens always. So make sure it's hearing a voice that helps, not hurts. Let's connect this to your English journey. Many learners feel shy, afraid to speak, worried about grammar, accent, or vocabulary. But what truly blocks fluency is not grammar, it's fear. And fear grows from negative self-talk. When you keep saying, "My English is bad," your brain closes. You stop trying. You hesitate. But when you start saying, "I'm learning," "I'm improving," you open up. You speak more. You enjoy the process. The voice in your head decides whether English feels like a fight or an adventure. You can even turn your self-talk into a language practice exercise. Throughout your day, speak to yourself, but in English. If you drop something, say softly, "Oh, I dropped it." That's okay. If you forget something, say, "It's fine. I'll remember next time." If you finish something, say, "Well done. Good job." It may sound simple, but this is a powerful way to improve your English and your mindset at the same time. Because you're not just learning vocabulary, you're learning emotional language. You're learning to be kind in English. And that kind of English is the most natural and beautiful. There's one more secret about that inner voice. When you stop fighting it, when you start listening, it changes naturally. Sometimes, that voice only wants attention. It says, "I'm scared, not to hurt you, but to tell you, please notice me." When you notice it with kindness, it relaxes. It becomes quiet. And sometimes, it even helps you. Because your inner voice can also be your guide, your intuition. It can remind you what really matters, warn you when something feels wrong, or inspire you when you need courage. But that only happens when your mind feels safe, not judged. So, instead of trying to silence your inner voice, learn to listen and then choose how to respond. Let's do one more small reflection practice together. Close your eyes if you can. Take a slow, deep breath. Now, imagine the voice inside your head sitting next to you, like a small version of yourself. Look at it. What does it look like? Does it look tired? Angry? Sad? Or maybe just scared? Now say gently, "I hear you. Thank you for trying to protect me. But I am safe now. We can grow together." Feel that kindness. Feel how the voice begins to calm down, like a child who finally feels understood. That's how you make peace with your inner voice. Not by fighting it, but by understanding it. Your inner voice can become your best friend. It can remind you that you are enough. It can motivate you to grow. It can comfort you when you fall. But only if you feed it with love, not fear. So from now on, whenever you hear that voice saying something negative, pause. Don't fight it. Just say, "That's an old story. I don't need it anymore." Then replace it with a new one. Say, "I'm doing my best. I'm improving. I can handle this. And most of all, I deserve peace." Remember, you talk to yourself more than you talk to anyone else in this world. Make sure you are saying something worth hearing. Because the voice inside your head is not your enemy. It's your most loyal companion. When you teach it kindness, it will guide you to greatness. From negative to positive thinking. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to think negative thoughts? It almost feels natural sometimes, like our mind loves to find what's wrong. We wake up and say, I'm so tired. We look in the mirror and say, I don't look good. We go to work and say, this day will be hard. And without even realizing it, we begin our day with small, invisible weights on our shoulders, weights made of thoughts. But here's something powerful to remember. You cannot live a positive life with a negative mind. Every positive change in your life starts with one decision, the decision to think differently. Now, that doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect. It doesn't mean ignoring pain or sadness. It means learning how to see hope even when things are hard. Because positive thinking is not about fake smiles. It's about real strength, the kind that comes from choosing to believe that tomorrow can be better, even if today is tough. Let's begin with something simple. Right now, think of one negative thought you often repeat to yourself. Maybe it's, I'm not good at English. Or, I'll never reach my goal. Or, nobody understands me. Now imagine that thought is a small seed planted in your mind. If you water it every day with attention and emotion, what will grow? A tree of fear. A tree of self-doubt. But what if you plant a different seed? A new one that says, I'm improving every day. And you water it with effort, kindness, and practice. Then, slowly, a new tree grows, a tree of confidence. Your thoughts are like the weather inside your mind. When they are dark, your world feels cloudy. When they are bright, everything shines. The outside world may stay the same, but your experience changes completely. For example, imagine two people stuck in traffic. One person says, this is terrible. I'll be late again. The other says, it's okay. I can't control the traffic. I'll enjoy some music while I wait. Same situation, but two completely different worlds, created by two different minds. You see, your power is not in what happens, but in how you respond. When you start to practice positive thinking, your mind will resist at first. It will say, this is fake. It will say, I don't believe this. But that's okay. You don't have to believe it right away. You just have to plant the seed and keep watering it. Because thoughts become habits. And habits become your life. Let's look at how to change a negative thought step by step. We'll use a simple method. Notice, stop, replace, repeat. Notice. Be aware of your thoughts. When you hear something negative in your head, don't judge it. Just notice it. Example. I'm not good at speaking English. Stop. Say to yourself, stop. That's not helpful. You can even imagine pressing a red stop button in your mind. Replace. Now choose a new thought that feels more helpful and true. Not, I'm perfect, but I'm improving. Example. I'm learning to speak better every day. Repeat. Every time the negative thought returns, repeat your new one softly, kindly, with patience. At first, it feels strange. But after a few weeks, your brain starts to accept it. It becomes your new normal. Here's a small story for you. There was once a young woman who always said to herself, I can't speak English well. My accent is terrible. Every time she opened her mouth, she felt nervous and embarrassed. One day, her English teacher asked her a simple question. Who told you your accent is terrible? She paused. She couldn't remember anyone saying that. It was only her own thought repeating it again and again. The teacher smiled and said, then stop teaching your mind to believe that. Start teaching it something new. From that day, she began to say, my accent is part of me. It shows where I come from. It's beautiful. And you know what happened? Her English didn't just improve, her confidence did. Because she stopped fighting herself. Positive thinking doesn't mean ignoring your weaknesses. It means seeing your value while you work on your growth. You can say, yes, I make mistakes, but I'm learning. Yes, I'm not there yet, but I'm moving forward. Yes, I feel afraid, but I'll try anyway. That's real positivity, the kind that doesn't hide from reality, but walks through it with courage. Now, let's make this practical. Here are some examples of how to transform common negative thoughts into positive ones. Try saying them out loud with me slowly, clearly, like daily affirmations. Negative positive. I'm bad at English. I'm learning and improving every day. I always forget words. My memory is getting stronger through practice. I can't speak fast. I speak slowly and clearly, and that's good. I feel shy. I'm becoming more confident with every conversation. I failed before. That experience taught me something valuable. It's too late for me. It's never too late to grow. You see? Each time you change the sentence, your energy changes. Your body relaxes. Your voice sounds stronger. And your mind feels lighter. Here's another truth. Your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. When you imagine success, your brain begins to act like it's real. That's why athletes visualize winning before they play. That's why confident speakers rehearse positive outcomes in their minds. So start using your imagination for good. Picture yourself speaking English fluently. Hear the sound of your voice, calm, natural, expressive. See yourself smiling as people understand you. That's not fantasy. That's mental training. Every time you imagine your best self, your brain learns what it feels like to be that person. You can also change your energy with small, daily actions. Because thoughts affect feelings and feelings affect actions. When you start your day, instead of checking your phone right away, take a moment to set your intention. Say to yourself, today I choose to be calm and grateful. That one sentence can change your entire day. When you catch yourself complaining, pause. Then say, okay, but what can I do about it? This simple shift from complaining to acting transforms negative energy into growth. Let's do a short positive thinking exercise together right now. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes for a moment, if possible. Think about 3 things you are grateful for today. They can be small: the sound of the rain, a friend's message, a warm cup of tea, or this moment of learning. Now say softly in English, I am thankful for my life. I am thankful for my progress. I am thankful for this new day. Feel that warmth inside you? That's positivity. It's not loud. It's not fake. It's quiet, gentle, and real. Positive thinking is not about controlling everything that happens. It's about controlling how you respond again and again until your mind learns peace. You will still face challenges. You will still feel sad sometimes. But you will no longer live inside that sadness. You will walk through it with light. And that light, that choice to focus on the good, will guide you every time you fall. Remember, every great change begins with one small positive thought. When you say, I can improve, you already have. When you say, I will try again, you already have. When you say, I am enough, you already are. So, keep feeding your mind with good thoughts. Because every word you say to yourself is a seed, and one day, those seeds will grow into the life you dreamed of. Every dream begins in the mind. Every success, every invention, every story, all began as a thought. The airplane started as a thought. Electricity started as a thought. Even this moment, you, listening and learning, began as a thought inside you. You thought, I want to improve my English. You acted on that thought. And here you are, growing, learning, changing. That's the power of thought. But thoughts alone are not enough. They are like seeds. They only grow when you take care of them through action. You see, your mind is the builder, but your actions are the hands that build. A positive thought gives you direction, but action gives you transformation. Imagine if a farmer said, I believe in good harvest, but never planted seeds, never watered the soil. Nothing would grow. It's the same with your life. You can think positive thoughts, repeat affirmations, dream big, but until you take the first step, your garden will remain empty. Now, let me tell you something true and simple. You don't need to take big steps. You just need to take one small step every day. Small steps build big change. 1 word a day makes you fluent. 1 smile a day makes you kind. 1 minute of courage a day makes you brave. When you act on your thoughts, even in tiny ways, you teach your brain that you are in control. And the more you act, the stronger that belief becomes. Let's imagine a man named Daniel. Daniel always dreamed of speaking English confidently, but he felt scared. He thought, I'll never be fluent. Then one day, he changed that thought to, I can learn if I try. He began watching short English videos every morning. At first, he didn't understand much. But he didn't stop. He listened again and again. He repeated new words out loud, even when his pronunciation wasn't perfect. And slowly, his mind started to believe, I can really do this. Months later, Daniel met a foreign visitor at work. He spoke English slowly, clearly, and confidently. The man smiled and understood him. That day, Daniel felt something powerful. He realized that thought alone didn't change his life, action did. You see, when you take action, you send a message to your brain. I am serious. I'm not just dreaming. I'm doing. And your brain starts to help you. It releases energy. It builds new connections. It learns faster. That's why people who take small, regular actions grow faster than those who wait for the right time. Because the right time is now. Let's take another example. Imagine you want to become more positive. You think, I'll try to see the good in life. That's a great thought. But how do you make it real? You take small actions. Each morning, write one thing you are grateful for. When someone helps you, say thank you sincerely. When you see something beautiful, a tree, a child's smile, the sky, pause and notice it. Those small actions are like drops of water. And when you keep adding drops, one by one, they become an ocean of peace inside you. Thoughts are invisible, but actions make them visible. If you want to know what someone truly believes, look at their actions. For example, someone might say, I care about my health, but they never exercise or eat well. Their actions don't match their thoughts. That's why inner peace comes when your thoughts, words, and actions all move in the same direction. You think something good. You speak it kindly. You act on it bravely. That's harmony. That's balance. Sometimes, people say, I'll start when I feel ready. But the truth is, you'll never feel completely ready. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after it. You start scared. You start uncertain. You start small. And then, with every step, confidence grows like a sunrise slowly, quietly, beautifully. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall again and again, but they don't stop. They don't say, I failed. They just stand up and try again. That's how you should approach your goals, with patience and persistence. Now, let's talk about something deeper, the connection between thought, emotion, and action. Every action begins with a thought. That thought creates a feeling. That feeling moves you to act. For example, you think, I can't do this. You feel weak. You don't try. You think, I can handle this. You feel brave. You take action. That's why controlling your thoughts is so powerful, because your thoughts control your emotions, and your emotions control your actions. So, if you want to change your actions, don't start with behavior, start with belief. Let's do a small reflection exercise together. Think about one area of your life you want to change. Maybe you want to speak English better. Maybe you want to be healthier. Maybe you want more peace of mind. Now, ask yourself, what thoughts am I thinking about this goal every day? Are they helpful? Do they make you feel strong or weak? If they make you feel weak, rewrite them. Write new ones that give you power. Then take one small action today that matches that new thought. If your thought is, I'm becoming a better English speaker, then your action could be listening to this lesson again, or speaking one English sentence to yourself. If your thought is, I take care of my body, then your action could be drinking more water or walking for 10 minutes. Small steps are enough. Because small steps, repeated daily, become unstoppable movement. Let me tell you a short story about action. There was a man who always dreamed of writing a book. Every day he said, one day I'll write my story. But he was always busy. He said, when I have time, I'll start. Years passed. His story stayed inside his mind, never written. One morning, he realized something. If I write one page today, I'll have 365 pages in a year. So he started one page a day. At first, it was hard. Some days, he didn't feel inspired. Some days, the words didn't come easily. But he kept writing one page at a time. And 1 year later, his book was finished. He didn't need to write fast. He just needed to start. That's how real growth happens. Not through big, sudden changes, but through small, consistent actions born from positive thoughts. So ask yourself every morning, what's one good thing I can do today? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be something. Because action builds confidence. And confidence builds more action. It's a beautiful cycle. When your thoughts and actions work together, your life begins to move in the right direction. You stop waiting for motivation, you create it through action. You stop waiting for luck, you make your own through effort. And you stop feeling like a victim of life. You become the creator of your life. That is true power. Now, let's connect this to your English journey again. Every word you practice, every video you listen to, every sentence you speak, that's an action. And each one moves you closer to fluency. Don't wait for perfect English. Don't wait to feel ready. Just speak. Just listen. Just try. Even if it's one sentence a day, it matters. Because small daily action turns learning into a lifestyle. Remember this line. A river cuts through rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence. Be that river. Keep flowing. Keep learning. Keep speaking. You are not your past. You are your choices, the thoughts you think, and the actions you take today. So, if you want to change your life, don't wait for tomorrow. Start now. Because action is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. Think good thoughts. Feel positive emotions. Take small, brave actions. And watch how your life transforms, one simple step at a time. There's a kind of success that doesn't show on social media. It's not loud. It's not shiny. It's quiet, like the soft breath you take in the morning when you wake up calm and grateful. That kind of success is called peace of mind. When your thoughts are no longer fighting each other, when your heart feels light, when your mind stops shouting and starts listening, that's peace. And peace is not the end of your journey. It's the beginning of real growth. Let's take a deep breath together. Inhale slowly. Exhale softly. Now ask yourself, when was the last time I felt truly calm, without worry, without fear? Maybe it's been a while. Maybe your mind is always busy, full of plans, regrets, and comparisons. Maybe even when you rest, your thoughts keep running. That's normal. Because your mind is like a river, it's always moving. But peace doesn't mean stopping the river. It means learning how to float on it, how to move with it, not against it. True peace begins with acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means understanding what you can control and letting go of what you can't. You can't control the weather. You can't control other people. You can't control the past. But you can control your response. You can control your thoughts, your energy, and your attitude. When you start focusing only on what you can control, you free yourself from the heavy chains of frustration. You start to live lighter. Many people think happiness comes from getting what they want. But real happiness comes from wanting what you already have. You can chase success all your life, but if your mind is full of stress and comparison, you'll never feel satisfied. Peace is when you stop chasing and start being. You stop saying, I'll be happy when, and you start saying, I'm thankful now. Let me tell you a short story. There was a monk who lived high in the mountains. One day, a man visited him and asked, Master, I want peace. Can you teach me how to find it? The monk smiled, walked to a small board, and wrote 2 words, remove I. Then he said, now remove want. Only 1 word remained, peace. The man looked at it and smiled. You see, when you remove I, the ego, and want, the endless desire, what remains is peace. Peace is not something you find outside. It's something you create inside. When your thoughts are kind, your mind is peaceful. When your actions match your values, your heart is peaceful. When you stop comparing and start appreciating, your life feels peaceful. And that peace is the strongest foundation for growth. You can't grow when your mind is full of noise. You can't learn when your heart is full of fear. That's why peace is not weakness, it's power. Because when your mind is calm, you see clearly. You make better choices. You learn faster. You love deeper. That's why, in this journey of controlling your thoughts, your final goal is not control, it's freedom. Freedom from worry. Freedom from fear. Freedom from the voice that says, you are not enough. Now, let's talk about how to practice peace, not just understand it. The first way is mindful breathing. Take a few moments each day to breathe consciously. Inhale deeply. Exhale slowly. And as you do, say to yourself, I am here. I am safe. I am calm. Even 1 minute of mindful breathing can reset your whole day. The second way is gratitude. Before you sleep, close your eyes and think of 3 good things that happened today, even if they are small. Maybe you laughed. Maybe you learned a new word. Maybe you simply made it through the day. Say softly, thank you. Because peace grows where gratitude lives. The third way is forgiveness. You can't find peace while holding on to anger, not toward others, and not toward yourself. Forgive the people who hurt you, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. And forgive yourself for the mistakes you made. Say, I did my best with what I knew then. Now I know better. That sentence alone can free your heart. The fourth way is presence. Don't live only in your mind. Look around you. Notice life. When you drink water, feel its coolness. When you walk, feel the ground beneath your feet. When you talk to someone, truly listen. Because peace lives in the present moment, not in yesterday's memories, not in tomorrow's worries. This moment right now is your real life. When you live with peace, growth becomes natural. You don't need to force it. You don't need to rush. You start to grow like a tree quietly, steadily, beautifully. Roots deep in patience, branches reaching toward the light. You start to see lessons in everything, in failure, in success, in silence, in waiting. You understand that life is not about control, it's about flow. And when peace becomes your habit, everything changes: the way you speak, the way you think, the way you see the world. You no longer react to every problem. You respond with calm. You no longer fight your emotions. You accept them, understand them, and let them go. That's growth. Now, let's connect this again to your English journey. When you learn with peace instead of pressure, your brain relaxes. You listen better. You remember more. You speak more naturally. So, don't force yourself to be perfect. Enjoy the process. Be peaceful with your progress. Say to yourself, I am growing. I am learning. I am doing enough. Because when you learn with peace, English becomes not just a language, it becomes a meditation, a way to understand life itself. Let's take one last mindful moment together. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and whisper softly in English. I am calm. I am present. I am thankful. I am growing. Feel how peaceful those words sound. Feel how good it feels to understand them, not just with your ears, but with your heart. That's the real goal of your English journey. Not just to speak, but to feel. Not just to understand words, but to understand yourself. When you live with peace, you stop chasing happiness, and happiness starts finding you. When you live with peace, you stop waiting for life to be perfect, and start enjoying it as it is. When you live with peace, you stop being afraid of growth and start growing naturally, like a flower that knows the sun will rise again tomorrow. Take a deep breath, in and out. Now, close your eyes, just for a moment, and think about the journey we have shared today. You began this story wanting to learn English, but you have also learned something deeper: how to understand yourself. Because English is not just words. It's a bridge, a way to connect your thoughts, your emotions, and your life. And just like language, your thoughts can be learned, practiced, and improved. In the beginning, we talked about the garden of your mind. You learned that thoughts are like seeds. If you plant negative seeds, you grow weeds of worry. If you plant positive seeds, you grow flowers of peace. You realize that you are the gardener. You have the power to choose what to plant and what to remove. That was your first step, awareness. Then we talked about the hidden power of thought. You discovered how every thought shapes your feelings and every feeling shapes your actions. You understood that what happens inside creates what happens outside. That was your second step, understanding. Next, you learned about awareness and self-talk. You started to notice that little voice in your head, the one that sometimes tells you, you can't, you're not enough, or you'll fail. But you learned to speak back. You learned to say, I can try. I am growing. I am learning. That was your third step, transformation. Then we talked about the power of positive thinking. You saw that positivity is not pretending everything is perfect. It's choosing to see what's possible, even when life is not easy. You practiced small mental changes, replacing I must with I choose, I can't with I'll try, and I failed with I learned. Those small changes built new mental habits, and that was your fourth step, reprogramming. After that, we explored action. Because thoughts alone don't change your life. Action does. You discovered that when your thoughts are clear, your actions become focused, and your results follow naturally. You began to see how every positive thought becomes a small movement forward, a gentle push in the direction of your dreams. That was your fifth step, growth. Tease away of. That was your sixth step, wisdom. Now, as we stand here together at the end of this journey, I want you to think about how far you've come. You have practiced English by listening, you have trained your mind by thinking, and you have opened your heart by feeling. This is not just English listening practice. It's life listening practice. You have learned to listen not only to words, but to silence, to your thoughts, to your inner voice. And that's the real goal of this lesson, to help you become fluent in life. You see, fluency is not about speaking fast. It's about speaking clearly and feeling deeply. It's about letting your words flow naturally from your thoughts and letting your thoughts come from peace, not fear. When your mind is peaceful, your English becomes smoother. Your sentences sound calmer, your pronunciation becomes clearer, and your voice carries confidence. Because your voice always tells the truth about how you feel inside. So from now on, when you practice English, don't just repeat words, feel them. When you say, I am calm, feel calm. When you say, I am strong, stand tall. When you say, I am learning, smile, because it's true. And when you listen to English, don't just hear sounds, listen to the emotions, the rhythm, the energy. That's how you become fluent, not only in English, but in life itself. Let's take one last reflection moment together. Imagine yourself standing in front of a mirror. Look into your own eyes. What do you see? Maybe you see someone who is still learning. Maybe you see someone who sometimes feels lost. Maybe you see someone who has made mistakes. That's okay. Now look deeper. You'll also see someone who never gave up. Someone who kept trying, who learned, who grew, who believed, even when it was hard. That person is you. You are not your negative thoughts. You are not your past mistakes. You are not your fears. You are the observer of your thoughts, the thinker, the dreamer, the creator. And that means you always have a choice. You can choose peace over stress. You can choose hope over fear. You can choose kindness over anger. You can choose the next thought you think. And that single choice, repeated every day, can change your entire life. So now, let's finish this journey the same way we started, with a simple but powerful truth. Control your thoughts, and you control your life. Because everything begins in the mind. Your success, your confidence, your peace, all grow from the thoughts you choose. You don't have to fight your thoughts. You just need to guide them, like a teacher guiding a child, like the sun guiding a flower to grow. Before we end, I want you to repeat some affirmations slowly, clearly, and with feeling. I am in control of my thoughts. My thoughts create my emotions. My emotions guide my actions. My actions shape my life. I choose peace. I choose kindness. I choose growth. I choose to think positive. I am learning. I am improving. I am growing every day. I am enough. Now, take a slow, deep breath. Smile. You've done something powerful today. You didn't just practice English. You practiced awareness. You practiced peace. And this practice will stay with you in your words, in your actions, and in your thoughts. Because once you learn to control your thoughts, you never live the same way again. You live with direction, with calm, and with confidence. So as you go back to your day, remember this small but strong truth. You don't need a perfect life to be happy. You just need a peaceful mind. And you don't need to control everything. You only need to control one thing, the next thought you choose to think. Let it be kind. Let it be hopeful. Let it be peaceful. Thank you for joining me today on Mr. English Lab. I hope you not only practiced your English, but also practiced understanding yourself. Remember, your thoughts are your power. Your peace is your strength. And your journey, your beautiful, imperfect journey, is your real story. So keep learning. Keep listening. Keep growing. And always, always remember, control your thoughts. Control your life.